Hi friends. Okay, you have been on my to-do list. I still have to reply to some of your messages, but I wanted to pop in here really fast and just kind of talk through some of this because I know a lot of you are recommitted to your containers. Some of you are breathing into a paper bag about them and feeling really overwhelmed, and so I just want to talk some of this through. Okay, I am super behind in my life. I'm creating affirmations around that, but that's also my truth, and so I want you to know that. So if you are feeling behind, if you haven't gotten more into this book than the intro, I'm right there too. Okay, I've had it scheduled for my last 2 days. I'm going to read chapter 1. I'm going to read chapter 2, and I'm just behind. Just trying to keep my head above water, and so I'm not going to freak out. I might have screamed into a pillow earlier, which is why I was rubbing this on the back of my neck, essential oil blend. But this journey is a living, breathing thing, okay? So you don't have to have it all figured out right away. You don't have to be 100 exactly % right away. It's just about you creating some healthier habits, and really it's about becoming mindful about how you're eating, what you're eating, how does it make you feel when you eat that, why are you eating it? Personally, I am a tired eater. If I am tired, I want to eat. And I have found that if I feel, this is a newer thing that I'm aware of, is if I feel stressed or I feel like I have a lot of things to do, I think that I have earned a latte or a mocha or a sassy coffee. Like, I have created this link in my mind where I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to sit down and do all my stuff, and now is the time for that coffee. And it's not super sugary, but it's also really not serving me because the caffeine in that is revving me up. It's getting me makes me feel more ungrounded. See, the whole point of me telling you this is just that I wasn't even aware that that's what was happening until I took the time to sit down and to refocus on this. So we're going to chat through a couple of the questions that I quickly jotted down over the last few days. Hi, Melissa. And if I miss your question, I just didn't see it. So I have a pinned post in here some point this week. I want to tell you when, but I'm also really juggling a lot of things, and I want to make sure that I can come on and be completely committed and focused and not distracted. And there's a lot of pots on my stove right now. So let's talk this through, okay? If you have the book, I want to remind you that this isn't an assignment, and this isn't you have a specific homework, you have to get this done every single night, you have to have it completed by a certain time. Some of you are going to binge, and you're going to read ahead, and you're going to dig in, and you're going to apply it, and then others of you, like me, are going to be like, I'm trying to keep up, and that's okay? I created an event here just because I knew a lot of you were interested in reading it or already reading it, and I wanted it to be something that we're talking about in this group. But again, it's not like every single day there's homework or an assignment. It truly is your own pace, just like your fitness journey. It's going to go at your own speed, and there's no wrong or right way to do it unless you do nothing at all and eat your feelings. True story. So that being said, I am making our evening check-in post for the next 3 weeks. It's going to have this picture on it, but that doesn't mean that if you're doing the 2B mindset or you're not interested in reading this book that you ignore that post. That is your accountability post to plug in and say, this is how I'm doing. I got my water in. This is how my movement was. It's an accountability drop every evening, not to highlight the ways that you're not showing up or how it could be better. I want you just to take stock of your own journey and get honest about it. It's not about checking all the boxes. It's okay, I did this. Maybe this is my victory. Maybe this is my opportunity. And I believe that when you check in here, that you get a lot of momentum. I truly believe that. And I know that. I live that. When my coach had a group, she had one group, and I participated every single day. Sometimes I was the only one to participate, but you know who benefited? I did. And you guys benefit when you plug in, okay? So utilize that evening drop and just share how your journey is going. So first of all, if you are feeling really stressed out, I want you to look into Brianna's energy stuff. There's a units tab in here, a units thing. It has a whole bunch of videos that you can try. If you've watched me doing grounding stuff or curious about my daily energy routine, you can go ahead and check it out. Something else that I really love, because this is a mind, body, spirit connection. This is, okay? It's not just about these. It's not just about how fast you get through your program or how perfect it is. This is a living, breathing, imperfectly perfect journey that belongs to you, and I want you to own it and lean into it. So that means I need you to take care of your spirit and your mindset and your self-freaking talk, okay? So utilize the meditations that are on Beachbody On Demand. Oh, it was like a flight attendant there. Utilize the meditations. I have tons of recommendations if you want to follow a different meditation, whatever. This is something else that I'm sharing. I'm using this in my own life. Can we see it? It's Bach flower. Rescue Remedy is kind of their generic, not generic, but it's their meets all the needs. Like if you're just feeling stressed, I give this to my kids. You can just do a drop in their mouth, or you can add some to their water. And hold please while we do this. Today, I don't know why today has just been like, I just have so many pots on the stove. It's okay. I'm going to do my energy practice after this. Then I'm going to do my personal development, because if you have to choose between your mindset work and your physical work, I say do your mindset work, because more than likely it will serve you a lot more quickly than the physical stuff. The physical stuff is just as important, don't get me wrong, but mindset really matters. Okay, so these containers, this is a training wheel system. Okay, this is to help you figure out, to retrain your eyeballs, what a proper portion size looks like. And then you are going to figure out using the system, right? You can find it on demand. If you need help figuring it out, drop a comment. I'm not going to waste your time talking about it, but really it's just a training wheel system. And once you retrain your eyeballs, what a proper portion size is, then you can move forward and you can actually get some results, and you find your food freedom. I still eat cookies. I still drink wine. So does Autumn. But it's just about knowing how much you can have and what you're going to substitute it for, how you're going to count it, and get your freedom back. There's no such thing as a bad food, I don't think. I mean, there's some foods, obviously, there's sometimes foods. Some foods will serve you better, but I don't want to live a life where I can't have things. I want to live a lifestyle that serves me and that feels good, and that I can still go on trips and have mojitos and margaritas and all those things. Like, this is not about a crash diet. It's not about you depriving yourself. It's not about you becoming obsessed with your container count either, okay? So give yourself some grace. Get the freaking Bach flower if you need it. Cool side note, they make these for animals too, but you have to make sure you get the pet blend, okay? Because you can't give your pets alcohol. That would be very bad. Anyway, so couple questions that I wrote down. So number one, how do you navigate the recipes? Because we have Fixate, there's a cooking show, the meal plans I upload, which I need to redo this week's. How do you navigate when it says, it's this many serving size, like, this serving counts as a red and half a yellow and a green? Don't get so hung up on that, okay? I think that the portion system has worked so well for me because I don't allow it to completely freak me out and take over my brain, okay? So if I'm gonna have a dinner, just a normal dinner, okay? Normal dinner, we're gonna grill up some meat, we're gonna have some vegetables, have a side salad with some salad dressing, and I do store-bought, I make my own too, but there's nothing wrong with some Lighthouse Ranch, friends. You're not gonna die or gain 50 pounds unless you take a bath in it, and that's just gross and unsanitary, okay? It's okay. So, your grilled meat, your, whatever your starch is going to be, when you look at the food lists, the foods that are at the top of the list are going to serve you the most. Those are going to be the ones that have the most nutrients, that are going to benefit you the most. Obviously, a yellow sweet potato is going to be better for you and your glycemic index than like white rice. Can you not have white rice? Can you not have corn tortillas? No, you can totally have those, but you're going to count them. So I look at my plate. The only thing I really use my containers for, if I'm really honest with you, and I know I'm going to tweak this and I'm going to rein it in over the next few weeks as I dig more into this book, but it's my yellows. My yellows are my slippery slope. What I think rice, or if I was doing pasta, or, any of that, it's usually a lot more than this. And you can get a lot of food in this. Don't let this freak you out and be like, I'm not gonna have enough food. You will have plenty of food, okay? Calm your business. So I have all those things, right? Whatever my protein is, I'm not gonna go huge with my servings. You could measure it. Go ahead. If you're training your brain, absolutely. Cut up the meat, use this, dump it on your plate. For me, I don't think you can do too many veggies. That's just my own personal belief. So I might have some asparagus. Cool. I'm going to count it as a green. Am I going to try and measure them? Not necessarily. Okay. I'm going to have like 6 stems. I should probably look in the book before I'm telling you this, but I haven't read the book. It's been a while since I did my certification. Okay. Don't write me hate mail. But like if I'm going to have a handful of asparagus, cool. I'm going to count it as a freaking green. And then if I have a salad, I'm going to count that as a green as well. If I have salad dressing, to be really honest with you, My orange container, I use that for seeds and nuts. If I'm having salad dressings, yeah, I know she says you should count it. She says that store-bought dressings aren't good. I want you to be aware and to look at your label and to see how much sugar is in there. And maybe you'll start to make a shift, like when you're purchasing them, to make sure that you're buying something that isn't just loaded to the gills with sugar. But in the interim, if you having some salad dressing, it goes over your container count, but it helps you get in the greens, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And this is all about you not doing it 100% perfectly at first, because that's super intimidating, but you just making this work for you. And then you're going to get more confident, you're going to get more confident and more comfortable. You will build your confidence muscle, and it's going to become easier for this to become a lifestyle. And that's what I really want to push with you, is that this becomes a lifestyle, not a chain or a punishment or one more thing that you have to figure out. Figure out how many containers you need and go from there. So yeah, a lot of her recipes will say, you know, it's 1 red and half a yellow. If you have a serving, use your best judgment. You know what I mean? If you have 2 servings, and so now you've had 2 reds and you had, it was the original recipe was for half a yellow, you just count it as 2 yellows. It's all right, okay? It's gonna be all right, really is. I think that the most important part is just to figure out the proper portion size, especially for this bad boy, I think for a lot of us, and to be tracking your proteins, because as Americans, we're very, very heavy with our protein, and it's important to balance everything out, okay? One of the other questions was that one of you didn't care for the yellows that were listed, or you just don't like yellows. And, you know, I firmly believe that yellows, which are carbohydrates, are a really critical part of our diet. We need to have healthy carbohydrates for our bodies to function properly. Your brain needs carbohydrates, you guys. Like, we need to be balanced in all the things we're eating. I am not a keto proponent or supporter. If you have a diabetic issue, if you are following that under a doctor's, supervision, then that's a whole different bag of beans. We're not talking about that. But I would encourage you, especially if you've completely cut out carbs, to reevaluate that and to slowly introduce them to stay at the top third of her list and start layering in some healthy carbs. And you eat them at the beginning or the early middle of your day. Like, you don't want to be loading up having all your carbs at dinner. That was one of the biggest things I learned with the Ultimate Portion Fix, was that you want to have these bad boys earlier in the day. The other thing is this is a wine serving. So if you want to have wine, this is the amount. This is what you have. It's not like a huge glass. It's not a water bottle, guys. You don't put a straw in there. And if you are having that much to drink, well, then maybe you need to do a little bit of the introspective work. Like, are you using this to numb? Are you using this to drown stuff out? Like, there's nothing wrong with alcohol as long as it's not to deaden things. It's not to numb things. And speaking as someone who likes to numb things, there's no judgment, okay? But that was something I had to be like, ooh, I feel convicted with that, okay? So, you don't like the yellows? Suck it up, Buttercup. Try them out. Use the top of the list. And you know what? If you are on a bigger food plan, like some of you are, you're on Plans F, it's a shit ton of food. And I have found with my clients who have a lot of weight to lose, they freak out because there's so many containers. I would freak out too. And a lot of you are hairdressers, or you're on your feet and you're on the go, and it's really hard to be having those meals on a consistent basis. And so you wind up at the end of your day and you have 550 million containers, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're so overwhelmed that you just reach for the easy options. That's where planning your meals, loading up your Shakeology is such an easy way to make sure you're getting in lots of containers. But also, if you can't get all that food in, don't get all that food in. It's not about making yourself sick. It's about figuring out what you should be, where you should be, and then making sure that how are you feeling yourself. There needs to be balance. If you're not getting all your containers because you have so many, that's okay, but it needs to be balanced. It's not like, well, I'm not going to pick and choose, right? I'm going to get all my yellows and all my purples and all my oranges and just like one of my greens, okay? So if you can't do all the containers because you legit feel like you'll explode, that's okay, but I want you to make sure that it's still in balance. And I also want you to remember that as you lose weight, your container amounts will decrease. They're going to go down. It's going to constantly kind of tweak and evolve. And maybe you're going to find out, like for me, if I'm going to cut a container, it's usually one of these. I would much rather have all of these than maybe all of my fruits. But in Yuma, that was different because I had access to so many good fruits, okay? So yellows are your friends. Cool. Just make sure that you're getting the ones that are going to serve you the best. Next question. So I kind of talked about the too much food, okay? It's all right. It's really just about starting to track where you're at and what you're actually eating. And in the very beginning of this book, what is it called? The I don't know, the foreword or whatever, she gave a challenge where you are keeping a food log and you're logging the emotions you have when you go to eat and then what you eat and how it makes you feel. And so I did that for half a day, I'm really honest. But I had that aha about my coffee. When it was time to sit down and do some hard stuff, I was like, I deserve a treat. Why? I don't deserve a treat. I'm not a freaking dog. You're not a dog either, okay? You don't need a cookie to do something that you will feel so much better about when you're done, okay? So log your food if you haven't started doing that. Even if you don't have the book, it's about getting awareness and figuring out what emotional triggers are driving you to eat or to drink or to numb or maybe even just skip a meal. Like you feel like, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat that right now. I don't want to take the time. I feel too busy. Like document that and then document how you feel, like physically. I have found that a lot of us have food sensitivities, based on your blood type or just whatever. Like we have food sensitivities. Maybe you have a vitamin deficiency and so your body can't properly absorb things, which you're like, what? Don't worry about that, okay? But just start paying attention. Like if you eat something and you notice you have a headache, log it and see if you can figure out your pattern. Cool? Okay, Marion had some really great questions about salad dressings. So I know there's a lot of Fixate salad dressings. I did the Ultimate Reset, which was it's a 21-day vegan cleanse. I'm going to do it again here this fall. You're welcome to join me. It's really not scary. I thought it was going to be. There were so many awesome recipes for salad dressings. And so that was the first time I really made my own salad dressings and found out that they can be yummy. They don't just taste like grass or whatever. There was salt. They were delicious. But I use ranch. I use ranch, sometimes blue cheese, and I don't feel like having extra avocado and having extra salad dressing, let's be real, in the scheme of things, I don't feel like that's going to keep you stuck. I don't feel like you're going to gain 50 pounds unless you're taking baths, and we already talked about that. So if you need a little extra salad dressing to get that veggie in, I think that's okay, okay? It's all about giving yourself grace and knowing that as you go along this journey, it's going to evolve and change, and your palate will change, and you're going to figure it out. It doesn't all have to be perfect right now. You just need to be committed to starting and doing your best every single day, rinsing, repeating, brushing off what didn't go okay, not allowing yesterday to influence today, just showing up one day at a time. So Marion said that she likes store-bought dressings. Me too. And that she was using her orange containers for pumpkins and seeds. Same. And that she mentioned olive oil, that it's more calorie dense than salad dressings and other things. So I've never been one to measure my olive oil because, again, I don't take baths in it. If you are really focused on living a healthier lifestyle and maybe you're not used to using something like that, sure, follow the recipe, track it initially, but don't allow the rules and you feeling like it has to be 100% perfect to get you to handcuff you and make you stuck. I don't want this to be overwhelming. I know when my containers came, they sat in the plastic wrap in my cupboard for like weeks, maybe a month. I was so intimidated. I looked at them. I was like, there's like no food. Like I'm going to get one of these a day. I don't do diets, and then once I actually dug into it, I realized that this is liberation. This is training wheels. And this is about you finding your food freedom, food not being bad, but just figuring out how to properly fuel your body. Because if you are doing all the workouts and you're doing all the work, but you're eating like an asshole, it's going to handcuff you and it's going to keep you stuck. So again, this is just about you easing into it. Even though some of you are all or nothing, I get that. That is who I am at my core. But I've also had to learn that if I have an all or nothing mindset, I get derailed really freaking quickly. And I would rather be here for the long game and to give myself those little like gold stars and rounds of applause as I show up imperfect as it is every single day. Cool? So I think I covered the questions I saw. Again, I will go live in here some point this week and I will let you know when that is, if you want to watch me live, I'm much better about, you asking questions ahead of time, and then I have a list and I work off of that. I get distracted with the comments, but I'll make it a point to read your comments as we're chatting. So do your best, okay? And forget the rest. Water first, lots of veggies. That comes from the To Be Mindset, which is such an amazing program, and it can totally benefit all of us. But you guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be yours, okay? I hope you move your body. I hope that you were committed to whatever workout you're in the middle of. And if you're kind of stopping, you're not really sure where to begin, I love Clean Week. I think it's a really great place to begin. And then you move into something else. And you know what? It's not marriage. It's not a tattoo. So you can try a couple things. You can sample a couple things. And if it feels good, cool. And if it doesn't, that's okay. It doesn't mean you fail or it's not for you. It's just not right for this chapter. And this group, this journey, this chapter of your life, you guys, is about you getting momentum and showing up every single day as your best. Not as a perfect version of yourself with all your ducks in a row, but just you committed to figuring this out. Okay, cool. So I'm proud of you. Now I'm going to go do my mindset work because this is really important, and I'm going to read my book, and I'm encouraging you all to do the same. So if you haven't done something today to, lift up your mindset, listen to a meditation or pull up something. I don't know, pull up a quick recording, watch an old video in this group, but you become what you fill yourself with, not just with food, but also with our journeys. So surround yourself, fill yourself with some good stuff, and remind yourself of your truths. Even if you haven't started stopping on this journey or you're brand new and you have a really long ways to go, it's okay. You will get there. And the way you get there is by showing up one day at a time, making those small decisions that compound and help you get momentum. Cool? If you don't believe in yourself yet, I want you to know that I believe in you, and there's absolutely no reason that you can't figure this out. Breathe into a paper bag, get yourself some Bach flower rescue remedy, and just remind yourself that you being curious and you working on this, you're on the right track. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be yours.